You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's start off the podcast talking about John Ray Reed. The Diego Pavia ruling has a huge impact on Syracuse football, and I talked about it on a previous episode with Kyle McCord and how it could impact Kyle McCord's case for an extra year of eligibility. But it really has more of an impact directly to Syracuse's offensive line. For those that don't know, Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt starting quarterback this past season, he sued the NCAA for an extra year of eligibility because he played in JUCO, which deprived him of NIL. Pavia won the case, and as a result, the NCAA just granted basically everyone who started their career in JUCO who were out of eligibility at the end of this season an extra year. And that relates directly to Syracuse because John Ray Reed, their starting center, he started his career in JUCO and he was out of eligibility. But now he can come back. And he announced on Twitter that he is coming back. He said, quote, "I will be using my extra year granted to JUCO players." The interesting part about his statement is that he did not say he was returning to Syracuse. He said that he was going to use his extra year to return to college. It should be noted that no player on the Orange anymore can enter the portal as of right now. The portal closed just a few days ago, but there is a spring portal window that opens on April 16th and lasts until April 25th. So I'm not saying that John Ray Reed is going to transfer out. I just kind of find the wording interesting because he only said that he is going back to college, not necessarily back to Syracuse. But regardless, this is absolutely massive for the Syracuse football program. And for the purposes of this podcast, let's assume that John Ray Reed will be back with Syracuse next season as the starting center. The reason why right now I'm leaning towards he will be is because it makes too much sense. John Ray Reed has started 25 of 26 games at center for Syracuse the past 2 years. He was better in 2023, where he was Syracuse's highest rated offensive lineman with a minimum of 300 snaps played, according to Pro Football Focus. And Reed was only responsible for 1 sack given up in 2023. In 2024, John Ray Reed was Syracuse's 4th rated offensive lineman, which is not exactly great, 4th out of 5. And he was the 14th rated center in the ACC, which is not exactly good. Okay, 14th in the ACC. There's only 17 teams in basketball, or excuse me, in football, I should say, in football. So 14 out of 17 isn't great. However, having continuity on the offensive line is huge because you think about the offensive line as a unit, they talk. They have to talk before every single play. Center is very important because he's also the eyes and ears of the quarterback, calling out the shots to the offensive line and the certain protections. So you want to have continuity for chemistry purposes. And if you're Syracuse, the way you attack center in the portal going forward is this. If you can find someone that is significantly better than John Ray Reed, then by all means, go out and get that player. But if it's like a marginal difference between John Ray Reed and another center potentially in the portal this offseason or someone that you can promote from within, you might as well stay with John Ray Reed for that continuity, especially also if you get Kyle McCord back. You want to have the same center for Kyle McCord if possible, if he were to be back. So overall, John Ray Reed, he can come back. He is coming back to college. We just don't know if he is coming to Syracuse. And it makes all the sense in the world for him to come back to Syracuse because he's been a starter the past 2 seasons. And also the fact that the Orange need a center. If he does not come back, the Orange are going to have to get a center in the portal, or they can move positions with someone on the offensive line, or they can try to promote from within. But even their backup center, Josh Iloa, is out of eligibility. And he's not going to get that Diego Pavia ruling. I believe he's stayed with Syracuse his entire career. So it makes all the sense in the world for John Ray Reed to return to Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. This is Locked On Syracuse, and let me know your thoughts on Syracuse's offensive line this upcoming season and your thoughts on John Ray Reed potentially coming back to Syracuse. Again, I want to reiterate one more time. John Ray Reed can and will be back in college football next season. He announced it himself on Twitter. This is not speculation. But he did not say he was coming back to Syracuse per se. However, it makes all the sense in the world considering he has been a starting center the last 2 years and the fact that the Orange, if they don't have John Ray Reed next season, are going to need to find a center.